someone holds Kira accountable, she tries to throw a dig. So she didn't forget Maurier's name. She was upset because he called her out about how she really feels about Black people.
I saw some eyes over here. What was y'all talking about?
Because I had messed up the names and...
Kira, stop playing with me.
It wasn't being disrespectful, but if you received it that way, I do apologize.
Okay.
But you also have to realize you have been kind of just snarky this whole time.
I have not been snarky with you. I've been incorrect several times.
Okay.
You were also incorrect when you perpetuate Quentin dating white women. And then you said here, you was like the most white woman here. Now, I don't know what claim to fame that's supposed to be, but it's not cute.
Okay.
You've made comments like that around levels of blackness. Like, I like Black, but this is too Black for me.
But the thing is, I think that you and Janelle like to be like mean girls.
Here, let me be clear about it.
I'm speaking. You keep talking when you speak. I'm just saying I can feel y'all's negative energy because y'all definitely single me out on things. Jessica and Janelle are out to make me look like I'm ignorant, trying to make people be intimidated by them and get onto their bandwagon. And if you don't, they will let you know that they don't like that.
Let me be clear. I don't have to speak to you. I will not be speaking to you because I do not like you. Because you jump in and out of character.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Ranting Shop with me, Melissa. Today we're going to be reviewing Ready to Love Season 8 or 9, Episode 6. And today Tommy's assignment for the women were to speak on their doubts, going into relationships with the people that they're interested in. So let's first get into the women's odd situation that happened later on in the episode and how Janelle was very irritated with Kira. She's like, essentially what she's trying to say is don't be fake for the cameras, don't be fake with me, I'm not here for it. And it's just the way in which Janelle communicates. It speaks to someone that is easily angered, and it doesn't create for an environment that is calm. It creates for a hostile environment after she speaks. So that's what ensued. So Kira was speaking about Maurier. She ended up saying Marvin's name. Janelle was already irritated with her for confronting Quentin about him liking white women or whoever, and that irritated her. But my thing with Janelle is I've never seen her stick up for women in that capacity, but she's there as the men's advocate, and it's like, mind your business. Like, I understand that Quentin is one of your strong connections and you would need him to be seen favorably with the women, which I think they do kind of see him favorably. So I don't think he's in danger of being sent home, So now she knows that, okay, Quentin is talking to Janelle about stuff that I have spoken to him about, which is fine, but it just seems as if Janelle is playing a mother role to Quentin, and there's already that huge age gap, and I don't know how that relationship dynamic is gonna work. But Auntie was very irritated with Kira. It was basically like a mixed reaction from the audience. It's like Janelle is just rude. Like, we don't like Janelle's rude approach. Like, you understand where you're coming from, but how you communicate your thoughts and feelings, it's not receptive to positive conversation. And then you have Kira, who everybody thinks is fake and putting on this front like she's this white valley girl when really she's not that. And to some people it might rub them the wrong way, but I feel like to bring up the thing with Quentin in the women's lounge, I was like, is that necessary for her to be called out in that way, considering it's about the men, not really about the women? But anyways, I feel neutral about it. I'm like, okay, she's irritated with Kira because of probably what she said to Quentin, and her feeling as if Kira is being fake and very passive aggressive, and it is what it is. I'm not gonna crucify Kira if she has a black issues within herself where she's not able to really dig into her blackness, like, is her business. But what I will say is some people read it as certain things. Maybe she's seen Kira outside of the show, because during her spiel she did speak on Kira having this fake facade and having this really ghetto-ish name, Shaniqua or something, and putting on this front like she's so white, and she has the ghetto-ass name. Of course, I'm speaking from Janelle's point of view. This is what she was saying. So, I don't know. For me personally, I have issues where I feel like people are being fake, and it's frustrating because you want to connect to that real person and all you're getting is their representative. So at some point it gets irritating and you give up, because it's like you're never giving me your authentic. You're always giving me your fake. Who are you exactly? And for Kira, I don't know if you'll ever know that, but she took to her Instagram to speak on the situation that took place with her confronting Quentin about whether he was white women or not. And this is what Miss Kira had to say. Alright, so first she went on to say, I want to take this time to elaborate on statements heard from me on last week's episode concerning black culture and my black identity. I would first like to say that I'm a proud black woman and I love my people and our community. And as stated in the episode, I come from a black family who has shaped me into the woman that I am. All that I meant is that I am not an activist, but I am fully in tune with who I am and where I come from. The second thing that I would like to address is my questioning of Quentin's preferences. I apologize for prejudging him because I know what that feels like. I get asked this question often. I personally have no issue with whomever anyone chooses to date. Finally, I want to thank those who know me personally for reaching out, discussing this with me, and providing me with different perspectives. I'm only human, and being captured on film and having my words edited by someone else and shared with the world is something new to me. I hope that clears things up and y'all can understand where I'm coming from. Right? So, I guess on the outside, people schooled her on how what she said came across, but she's saying that she was trying to say she's not an activist. Now that's not what I got from her. What I got from her is that she's not gonna she loves her blackness and whatever, but she's not fighting for black issues, which to me doesn't make sense, because in loving your blackness and wanting to protect it by protecting other black people, how is it that you're gonna see an issue that's clearly affecting black people and not want to speak up about it? It doesn't make sense to me at all, but it makes sense to her. So that's what she had to say. So then we have Miss Janelle Langford. She has something to say in response to the clip of this episode. She said, it's children of Ham Friday because these are not the descendants of Shem. Read your Bible. Whew. Better known as Ready to Love Friday. A few points to ponder for tonight's episode. 1. Black people who deny their blackness all while having the most stereotypical ethnic names, I think she wanted to say ethnic names, get under my perfectly hydrated skin. 2. I'm glad people are getting their cardio in from all the reaching they are doing. 3. Let's stop calling women mean girls who see through your BS, see how you move, and want nothing to do with you. It's childish. And then she says, shop Jessie Taylor 59, that's her brand. And, tagged other stores like Target, Amazon, and other places that I'm assuming her products sell at. Okay, we're not going to run down that. So that's the issue she's saying she had with Kira. You're pretending to be white when you have the blackest name and you're fake. And we saw that in the clip. Kira was like, when Janelle was like, don't play with me, you mentioned Quentin's liking white women when you had no substantive evidence, you're being fake, you're doing things on purpose. And then Janelle's response to that was, you're being mean girls. And I felt like the call out didn't warrant her reply. Like, it didn't make sense what her reply was. You're mean girls. Address what she's saying that you're doing and say, no, that's not what I'm doing, that's not me, you're reading me wrong, or you're just projecting. Like, she never responded to the call out. She responded by talking about diverting the conversation to them being mean girls. And it's like, they might be, but why don't you just address what they're calling you out about, you know? Then we had Jessica, who she and Janelle are apparently really good friends, and she's like, oh, the issue is you comparing the levels of blackness that you think is appropriate for you to date. And for me, the thing about it is, all right, you know, but the same way men speak on preferences, I think she's allowed to have her preference, and if her preference is a certain type of blackness, well, she's, you know, that's her prerogative. I mean, I'm not gonna be upset with somebody that says or states that they prefer a certain thing, you know. I'm not gonna argue down with you. That's something you take up with your therapist. That's not for me to take on, you know. That's your business, essentially. So but it really irritated Janelle, and I feel like it irritated Janelle so much because she feels as if the women, when the men are not attracted to them, the way they respond to it is to attack the men and say derogatory things about the men. And I think that's what got her irritated, and the threat of, you know, leaving a bad stain on her top connection as well. Anyways, let's move on with the rest of the episode. I digress. We have first, I think it was Aries and Philip. That was awesome. We see the connection. They're kissing on the lip now. So a lot of things have been discussed. A lot of conversations have been had. They've gotten to a point with each other that they're very comfortable, and it's good to see it. But for some reason, I feel like Aries is still not, you know, fully letting her guards down. She's aware that, you know, he might be really great and everything, but she's still keeping him at a safe distance, you know. I like their connection. I feel like he's more of a link up. He's more of a proper connection for Aries, and Chris seems and looks more like her child than her actual love interest. So that took place. It was really nice. He's open to kids. He's open to being a step parent to her kids. He's open to marriage. He looks like he feels or looks or seems as if he's found his person in Aries, and that's amazing. So let's move on and speak about Sierra and Christopher. So they're talking, they're getting to know each other and so on, and it seems as if this is the first date that Sierra has had with Christopher, and they're speaking on, you know, her, what she likes and what her pause is, and it reaches on the conversation of, oh, he likes to observe women, he likes to see what they like, you know. So Sierra is like, okay, well, I like Birkin bags, and he took it, I feel like Sierra was kind of joking in a sense, like, okay, you say you observe women and you see what they like, well, I like Birkin bags, and he took it as basically she's asking for a very expensive bag when she barely knows him, and so on and so forth. For me, what I've seen of Christopher, I feel as if he's not ready to love, and I feel like too many things scare him. Like, okay, first of all, let's go back to his situation with Unique. When Unique was basically saying that she's not gonna tolerate certain things, like she set a very clear and hard boundary, And the way Christopher took it back to the men's lounge, it's as if, oh, she's tough, and oh, that brings back bad memories from women that said that and so on. And in my mind, I'm like, is it that she's this red flag that you see, or is it that you're just not up to par with what she wants and you're afraid that you're not up to par with what she wants? Or is it that you're not willing to abide by her boundary? But to me, I took that as something questionable about Christopher. Whereas other people were stuck on, oh, she needs to heal, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. All right, now let's move on to his current situation now with Sierra. And it's like, okay, her telling you that she wants expensive bags is a red flag for you. All right. And the thing about it is, and somebody said it perfectly, that's typically the response of someone that can't afford the lifestyle that you've created for yourself or that you expect from the man. So their response is to kind of see it as something that frightens them. Like, wow, she wants these expensive things. Like, I can't afford that. And I feel like it's a good way to eliminate men quickly based on how they respond to your sense of style or your sense of luxury or whatever. It's good because you eliminate that person based on their response right. So when I think that she did it, she saw Chris's response and she's like, okay, Chris is not the type of person for me, because if I mention this back to him and that's his response, it means that he's not up to par with what I want. And there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like it's good to get that out of the way instead of develop feelings and then you bring it up and then you're devastated because now you're realizing that he might tick the boxes for everything else, but for this, which is really important to me, there's an issue. So that happened, and it's safe to say that is not gonna go any further than what we saw. And I am seeing what the women are saying about Chris, in that his conversations with the women are more about him selling himself to them, to what they specifically do, than him being his authentic self. Now, people might argue, can you not do the same? Can you not, just relate to people where they are? Like, for example, if you're into anime, can I not say I'm into anime too, if that's genuinely what I'm into? Or if somebody says they're a gym person, can I not say I'm a gym person as well, because I also go to the gym? Or like, for example, Sierra, she's a fashion person, he's aware of that. Can he not say he's into fashion too, because that's what Sierra is into? I understand that it does come across like he's trying to sell himself to whichever woman that is in front of him. I completely understand it, but it could also be that is his attempt at relating to whoever he's speaking to. Remember, this is not a situation where you're dating one person and it's an isolated thing. You're dating multiple people, and then when they do the lounges, everybody knows what you said to who, how you said it, where you said it, the tone, the everything. So you kind of have to watch how you communicate with them and try to be as genuine as possible, because the women are gonna come together and say, oh, I feel like he's trying to sell himself to me, which is what happened with him. And then we have Lee spoke to Maury. There's like no connection there. I'm kind of frustrated that they keep putting Lee on dates with people that she does not connect with. It's irritating me. Like, first you have Red, then you have Maury, you have Marvin, that they keep putting on dates with, even after she said multiple times that his lifestyle doesn't align with hers. I just don't get it. It irritates my spirit. Yeah, we must also speak to the fact that Lee is not exactly the most exciting person on the show, and she isn't. And but I still feel like it's because the people that putting her on dates with, she doesn't connect with, and she doesn't feel as if she needs to fake the funk when the connection isn't there. We see it when she's with Quentin. It's a different situation when she's with Quentin, but when she's with people she just is not that attracted to, I feel like what we see is a lack of excitement because it's a genuine feeling of no connection, which is fine. Now let's go over to, okay, Chris and Jessica. Now, off the bat, based on how strong of a personality Jessica is, I don't feel like it's gonna be a very good fit with Chris, because Chris looks like somebody that wants a mother figure as a partner. Like, he looks like he expects his women to treat him and cater to him like his mother would. And I just don't think Jessica is that type of person. I feel like Jessica wants a grown man, a man that gives off grown man vibes, and Christopher just doesn't do that. Christopher gives off little boy and take care of me and cater to me, and I just don't feel like that's the type of person Jessica is. So Jessica pops up on Chris and they're having their conversation, and he speaks to the fact that he thinks Jessica is a boss, and he goes for bosses, but he doesn't want her to have that same boss personality with him, right? And I feel like if you don't want the boss woman to have that type of same boss demeanor with you, first of all, you have to give off that energy that she feels like she can be feminine in. And from what I see of Chris, he doesn't give off alpha man, boss type of personality. I'll be safe with him. He doesn't give off that vibe. So I do not see Jessica fixing her tone or speaking more softly or being more feminine with Chris, because he doesn't give off that energy. I feel like somebody like more Herbert would give Jessica that energy, where you don't have to tell me to not be assertive or change my tone with you, because that would be something that I automatically do, But with him, he doesn't do that. And we see that on the screen. We see that that's not the energy Chris gives. That's why he has to verbalize to Jessica that, hey, I want you to be softer with me. And just that's not gonna work with Jessica, as we heard from her confessional. She's not gonna lower her tone or be a particular way to be more digestible for Chris. It's just not gonna work. And I'm also like scared and at the edge of my seat with them, because I already know that something is gonna go wrong somewhere, because next week we see that the ex is coming, and his ex is talking about, girl, it's a lot of work being with this man, and the amount of stuff I had to do to be his partner was a lot. And I feel like that's the second red flag for Miss Jessica, and I don't feel like that's the type of stuff she wants to deal with. So I feel like that relationship is gonna fizzle extremely quickly. She also spoke on Chris being inconsistent and him not really reaching out to her as much as he should, but she also mentioned she doesn't do it to him either. She doesn't reach out to him, so it's a two-way street. And I'm happy that she also saw her part in the breakdown of their communication. And it's not just fully him, it's also you. And so she spoke about Maurier being one to, speak up and do what he needs to do and communicate with as much as he needs, because at the end of the day, the person you like the most is the person you're gonna want to connect with. But the type of show this is, it's like, even the people you're not as connected to, you must still try your best to maintain a level of communication with them. To me, I feel as if that is what creates a lot of fakeness in the show, because like I'm not attracted to, neither do I want to continue communicating with Cedric, but I have to keep doing it just because it's a numbers game and I have to keep up my numbers. So I'm really into Mike, but I have to keep talking to Cedric to keep up my numbers, and to Anthony to keep up my numbers. And I just feel like that's what the show kind of falls short. I hate the way this show forces people to maintain connections they don't want to maintain connections with. And then when you go to the lounge, Kira would say, oh, he doesn't really communicate with me and blah 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 blah. And it's like, but he's not interested in you, Kira. Like, and that's the point with which the women use to say, to get the men kicked off, because it's like, I don't connect with him, but other women do, and it's the women that he has a connection with. So it's a really tricky type of situation. So I'm actually surprised Jessica spoke about her connection with Marie, because it doesn't seem like she's that into Marie, to be honest. And I feel like one of my biggest issues with this show is that you could see and tell that the caliber of women that join the cast, you get the impression that they earn way more than the men that come on this cast. So like, look at a Sierra, then look at a Christopher. Like, you're never gonna feel like Christopher would be able to afford Sierra's lifestyle. You're not gonna think that Philip could afford Janelle's lifestyle. You're not gonna feel as if Maurier can afford Jessica's lifestyle. Like, I know you mustn't just focus on a physical look and stuff like that, but it just doesn't seem like they're on par financially. And we saw it in the season of Ready to Love, where they were in the house. I forgot that one, where they were like sequestered in like and one of the women ended up picking the bodybuilder guy, and not that other there were two bodybuilder guys. I'm speaking on the one with locks or with braids, whatever he had in his hair. They kind of fell out because of money, of finances. And so it's like, I don't know, they need to really do better as far as finding men that can keep up with or do way better than the women financially than the women do. Because no woman wants to date a man that does less than them financially. No woman wants a man that they have to help. You know what I'm saying? And cater, and also cater to. It kind of is an unfair type of thing. So anyways, I'm digressing a whole lot. Let's speak on the situation with... Oh yeah, so that's why I'm saying that Chris is definitely gonna unravel, because there's no way Jessica is gonna change herself and make herself more digestible for Chris. So eventually that's gonna fall apart, and I'm really interested in finding out why, or what is the trigger that causes it to happen. So even if you see that you're building it up. So what else? We see Marvin and this lady speaks. I think after the deliberation, they put 3 men in the bottom. So it was Marie, Christopher, and Marvin. Now, I don't want to believe that all Marvin speaks about is his fetish, but I feel like that's all they highlighted of Marvin, because as Janelle says, because she said she worked in television publicists and television production and whatever, they have to create a reason why a contestant is going home, right? So for Marvin, it would be because he speaks about that fetish thing to death, and the women are sick of it. But I want to think that he spoke about more things. It's just that they need a reason to kick Marvin off. And personally, I'm happy Marvin ended up being sent home, because I'm kind of sick of Marvin at this point. And I'm really happy, because Lee will no longer have to be, we don't ever have to see Lee and Marvin go on a date again. I'm kind of pissed because how come we never saw Lee go on a date with Chris or Philip or anybody else? It's just been Marvin, and it's so irritating to see. It's like, I don't like what they're doing to Lee, to be honest. And so I'm happy that he's leaving, because maybe now we could see Lee on dates with other people. We've barely seen her on other dates with Quentin. Oh, I forgot to speak on Janelle and Quentin's date. They finally went on a date, and she was like, you know, they took so long to put Quentin and her on dates, like a one-on-one date. All they did was speak on the phone and so on and so forth. And it's really funny how Quentin is saying he's open to adoption, and Janelle is saying that, yeah, that's what she's gonna be leaning into, because she's a woman of a certain age. She's 41 or something, and Quentin is like 34. So she's not at the prime birthing age, and she's very aware of that. So she's like, adoption. He's like, yeah. And she spoke on marriage and all of that, and he's on board. He's not into that long engagement thing. He sees what he wants and he just gets into it immediately, which to me is problematic, because it's important to vet your potential wives before you jump into engagement and marriage. You know, it sounds good for a woman, because a woman would love to hear, oh, he jumps into marriage. Oh, I love that, because all I want is to be married. But it should be taken cautiously. Like, that means your previous relationship, you just jumped in and you didn't know what you were getting yourself into. And Janelle and Quentin still communicate, so I'm thinking that their relationship is still good. I mean, her outburst didn't turn him off at all. What I don't like about this season is I feel as if it was very obvious that people didn't like certain people, or people didn't connect with certain people. It was extremely obvious. Like, we know that the only person Quentin is really interested in is Janelle. Like, he'll throw in Lee, but it's really just Janelle. That's the only person that we've seen him really be happy to meet, happy to speak to, happy to connect with. It's only Janelle. So there's just like literally no doubt in anybody's mind that if he has to choose, he's choosing Janelle. So it makes it for a boring watch. And in this episode, he's talking about having sex with Janelle, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if it's a sexual thing that he has with Janelle, if it's a sexual tension thing, or if he genuinely wants a Janelle. I don't know. And then we have the situation with Lee. Based on Lee's interaction with the other men, it's very clear that she's only interested in Quentin. They actually eliminated two men. They eliminated Marvin and they eliminated Christopher, because they felt like Christopher was being a sales representative and selling himself to the women, as opposed to genuinely giving them a deep dive into him as a person. So I understand where the women were coming from, and I did see him selling himself. Oh, I've done this, I've gone here, I'm on my 20th degree, I do this and I do that. And it's like, what's beyond that? Because that's superficial stuff. What's beyond that, you know? And anyways, he's sent home. So I'm thinking next episode, 2 women are gonna be sent home. And if that happens, I feel like Kira is gonna be sent home and Sierra is gonna be sent home. Kira and Sierra, because I feel like as much as we love Sierra because she has this really funny personality, I don't really see her liking any of these men. Like, genuinely, I don't see it. Herbert is not that into her. Maury. I don't think she really wants or likes Maury. So we'll see what happens next episode. I feel like it's gonna be juicy. Whenever the exes come, that's like my favorite part because you get to see more than just their representative. You get to really see how they are in their relationships, which I think is valuable. Okay, let me know what you guys think about this particular episode. Like, subscribe, and see you guys next time. This one was a bit long. I apologize for that, but toodles.